Welcome back. We are talking about the role that disinformation plays on Spanish language radio. There is renewed interest following the sale of Caracol and the firing of Raul Martinez, the former Democratic mayor of Hialeah, who had a popular radio program in the afternoons on that station. In a moment, I'll speak to Florida Congressman Darren Soto. Soto, along with fellow Democrat Joaquin Castro, sent this letter to the FCC, expressing their concern, noting, "As members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, we are especially attuned to the impact that Spanish-language media has on our constituents across the country, and the potential ways in which Spanish-language listeners may be targets for political and other misinformation." In response, Republican Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart and Senators Marco Rubio and Rick Scott wrote this letter to the FCC that said in part, "Constituents of our state and districts do not appreciate the brazen attempt by partisans, many from outside the state, to impose their media choices on South Floridians. Comments indicating that our constituents will be duped by disinformation is insulting and tinged with racism. South Florida has a wide array of media sources, and our constituents are exceedingly capable of determining which of them are worthy of their trust and time." Here's my interview with Soto.
Our focus is on the public good. That is a requirement for consideration of any radio sale. These are the people's waves. They aren't the business of Catacall. They're not going to be the waves, radio waves of this new business. It's a license by the FCC. And when those licenses are used to spread harmful misinformation and incite violence, they can be taken away. Now, will that happen in this case? Who knows? But we need to express our concern and put a check on what we saw in 2020.
Isn't that simply the free market? I mean, if private enterprise, if one group comes in and buys another station, shouldn't they have the right to decide who is on their airwaves or not?
Well, sure, unless they're telling lies that lead to violence. So these are things that the FCC can consider. What they will do, who knows? But I need to express my opinion that I have grave concerns about silencing progressive voices in South Florida radio.
Shortly after Raul Martinez was fired, I spoke to Marcel Philippe, who is part of the group that bought Caracol, and it is his name on the FCC license application.
We're buying that radio station because there's economies of scale that comes when uniting the operations of television and radio. We're not buying it because of Raul Martinez, either to get him out or because of whatever ratings he might have. And this one has the added benefit that it reaches Cuba in the evenings. And this concept that this is somehow a conservative push is another big lie. Neither America TV, not my foundation, Inspire America, are either Republican or Democrat. We're bipartisan. We basically have one mission, and that is bringing democracy to Cuba. And we support Republicans and Democrats that support that goal.
What's your reaction to Darren Soto and others objecting to the FCC about the sale?
Well, it's quite simple. I am so happy that I live in a country that has laws, has a constitution, has something called the First Amendment that prohibits politicians from meddling in people's individual basic liberties. You cannot have the federal government dictate who can speak and who cannot speak. America TV is not a Republican or a Democrat station. That's what Raul Martinez wants you to believe so that he can guarantee Democratic support. The airwaves of America TV and Radio Caracol after the purchase will be open to Democrats.
You don't like Raul Martinez very much, do you?
Raul Martinez is relatively irrelevant. So every time he attacks me, I think it's good for me in my public image. It's relatively irrelevant, in other words.
Well, one of the things that he's attacked you on is, and I think he's called on you to apologize for your support of Gabriel Garcia, who ran against Danny Perez in the state house seat. Gabriel Garcia is now under indictment as a member of the Proud Boys who was part of the insurrection at the Capitol on January 6th. Was your support of Gabriel Garcia a mistake?
Listen, this is exactly what I mean with Raul Martinez and people in the media who are asked to interview me on his behalf so that they can try and lob these kinds of attacks. Because quite frankly, I supported Gabriel Garcia last year before he did the whole thing in the Capitol building. So to now ask me to apologize, as he has done for something that he did the year after I supported him, is silly. It's really only something that you do if you want to try to play some kind of gotcha and innuendos and that type of thing.
How concerned are you by misinformation in Spanish language radio?
Well, listen, one of the best things that we could do to eliminate misinformation is get Raul Martinez out of the airwaves, because that man kept on doing misinformation day after day about everyone that wouldn't agree with him. He really has the heart and soul of a dictator. Having said, that's how he ran Hialeah.
Do you envision, as the new owner of Caracol, that you will be promoting programming that suggests that the big lie, that this election was stolen from Donald Trump, that it was Black Lives Matter and Antifa that was behind what occurred on January 6th, that the QAnon conspiracies that the FBI say are dangerous and potentially violent in this country? Is Caracol going to become a platform for those views?
The fact that you're even asking that suggests that you are being asked to do this by Joe Garcia and Raul Martinez.
I realize you can try to tar me. I'm just asking you the question.
No, listen. Let me respond. Because if you don't want me to respond, you just have the conversation by yourself. Listen, let me repeat it again. America TV and America Radio, which is what we envision building there, is not Republican or Democrat. It will have all points of views. Our microphones will be open to all Democrats and all Republicans that want to have an honest debate on all of the issues, and they can put their views forward. We're not here to push any theory or any philosophy.
So when you say that all views will be represented, you believe that it's a legitimate view to talk about the election being stolen from Donald Trump, the QAnon conspiracy theories, whether it's about COVID or what's going on across the country, and whether or not, you know, the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol was pushed by Antifa and Black Lives Matter. You consider those legitimate views to put out to the public?
Look, number one, all of those issues have passed, so there will be no relevance in talking about them now or going forward into the future, because they're not relevant. Now, when they were relevant, when we had them in America TV, at the time that they were going on, they were relevant, and we had people espousing both views. We have some of the most liberal folks in this community sitting there in our studios debating with some of the most conservative, and the conservative will put it forth whatever opinions they thought, and the liberals will put whatever opinions they thought. That's what you do as a television station. It's what we've always done. To suggest otherwise, not only is it insulting to the men and women that work in America TV, but it's a flat out lie. It's defamation, quite frankly.
But there's a danger to creating a false equivalency, that some people believe that Black Lives Matter and Antifa was behind the insurrection. Some people don't, and then just sort of shrug. There's a false equivalency that becomes very dangerous. Do you not agree?
No, I don't agree. I believe in the free flow of ideas. People have to be free to expose their concepts, their ideas freely, and if they're wrong, you can ridicule them, and you can show that they're wrong, and you can. That's why you have to have what is dangerous when you only show one side of the coin. In other words, when you have people in media that basically only show you their perspective, and that's really the crux of where media has been failing.
If you want to have a diverse segment of viewpoints, wouldn't it be in Radio Caracol's interest to have a voice like Raul Martinez on the air?
Raul Martinez doesn't do that. Raul Martinez basically just insults everybody that he wants to insult. That's not debate. That's not substantive content. So he's, someone that, quite frankly, it's no loss for the radio station. I think it's a gain for the public, and quite frankly, yes. If I was already running it, I probably would have fired him, definitely, because I don't think he adds anything. But we didn't, and if they did it because they thought it would please us, maybe. I certainly never hid my my dislike for someone that doesn't add anything to the public discourse other than the name calling. I've certainly been and worked with many people who don't agree with me on a whole bunch of things, and I've been very respectful, whether I'm debating them or whether I am working with them on something that we do agree on. So This is a fabricated crisis on the part of Raul Martinez to hide his incompetence and to make himself relevant.
We'll be right back.